Why are they all of a sudden acting like they care? What's up, Game Boys and Girls? Big T here, back with another video, and I'm just wondering, why are these Nintendo fans, these certain Nintendo Switch fans, acting like they care that Switch could possibly not be backwards compatible? They didn't care when the Switch came out and got $60 ports from Wii U on games. Some of the games were $20 at the time on Wii U, and some of them cost more on Switch than they did at full price on Wii U. Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. They didn't care then. They didn't care when Nintendo announced that they were dropping the Wii U and 3DS eShops. Not anywhere near the way Sony fans cared when Sony said they were dropping the Vita and PS3 stores. They revolted, and then Sony changed their minds. But Nintendo fans didn't care. They didn't care when Nintendo decided to start putting Wii ports onto the Switch at $60. So stuff like Skyward Sword at $60 with an amiibo that was, had content locked behind an amiibo. Nintendo fans didn't care then. They didn't care that Nintendo decided to start basically forcing them into a rental service, whether you wanted it or not, because if you want to play online, you have to pay for it. Goodbye to the virtual console, and the really cool way to actually buy your games, those old school games on your current gen Nintendo console. They didn't care that Nintendo did that. They didn't care that Nintendo put really poor, and I mean poor, production value in a anniversary product that is Super Mario 3D All Stars. Just poor, bottom of the line, just garbage as far as the content on at least the setup, the look of it. And you look at something like what Capcom did with the Mega Man games, and it's like they didn't spend a lot of money doing that, but they put more care into a series like Mega Man. And even though Mario is Nintendo's mascot, they put out that ridiculously bad 3D All Stars, and then got people going crazy for FOMO because they were limiting, the copies, and limiting how long the game was going to be on the eShop and for sale and retail. Nintendo fans didn't care. Nintendo fans, mostly didn't care when the Joy-Con started having drift, and it was clearly a design flaw with the system, with the console and the hardware. They started blaming the fans themselves for not taking care of their Joy-Cons, even though most of these people probably barely use their Joy-Cons. They were probably mostly using their Pro controllers, so that's why maybe they didn't get any drift. But they didn't care, and they still don't care, even though Nintendo has really done nothing about that situation. They didn't care. They didn't care. Mostly, they didn't care when Nintendo decided to get rid of one of the coolest features on Wii U, that is Miiverse, and not have, that functionality on their next console. A lot of Nintendo fans pretended that they cared about Miiverse at the time it was on Wii U, and they advocated for it and how great it was. But Nintendo, the minute Nintendo said we're getting rid of it, they didn't care. They basically didn't care. They didn't do a whole lot of crying about it. So they didn't care. Nintendo fans certainly didn't care. I have barely seen anything about it, them caring, when Nintendo decided to put a $10 price hike on Tears of the Kingdom for no justifiable reason, other than we're going to make more money because we know people love Zelda like that now. They didn't care. But here you go with MVG putting out a speculation video. And he has some educated speculation because he is a developer. He's developed stuff that actually came out on Switch. He speculated that, there might not be backwards compatibility. May not be. He didn't say there definitely wasn't going to be. But he could see a scenario where there might not be backwards compatibility for the Switch 2 or whatever it's going to be. And people are in uproar. They're in selective outrage. They're upset that he thinks that they may not be. He's not definitively saying anything, but he thinks that there may not be because of the situation he described in his video. So check it out. But Nintendo fans are some Nintendo Switch fans are, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. That's not gonna happen. At the end of the day, if it did happen, you wouldn't care. You wouldn't do anything about it. So why are you getting on him? You're not going to get on Nintendo if that does happen. I guarantee you, these people who are jumping on MVG about the possibility, that Switch may not have backwards compatibility in the next iteration. They're an uproar about it. But I guarantee you, the minute Nintendo announces it, all these people will not be there complaining about it. Like, I understand, They will completely flip-flop on that, and it's kind of ridiculous. Maybe I shouldn't just say Nintendo Switch fans. Maybe I should say Nintendo Switch goons. The goonery behavior from these guys. It's to be expected. I mean, they didn't care that Nintendo released. I'm sorry, it's not Nintendo. It's a Pokemon company. They didn't care that the Pokemon company released this pathetic. It sucks because it's one of the most recent Pokemon games that I actually care to play. But I'm not going to play it in that state. I'm not going to give them my money when they put out a product like that. So these fans didn't care, and you can look at it in the sales. 20 million plus sales for this game. They didn't care. But you look at something like, say, Cyberpunk, and obviously there's different varying levels of brokenness, but it was still a game that had major issues, the way Scarlet and Violet do. And there was a lot more uproar in the gaming media even. I'm going to do a video about the gaming media and how ineffective they are at their jobs. But these fans, these are the same fans. They don't care. So as soon as Nintendo says, yeah, we're not doing back, and they won't say it outright. They'll slickly put it out there the same way they did Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom. They didn't announce it was $70. They were afraid to put that in the Direct for some reason. There's no reason you should be afraid. These fans don't care. They will buy everything you put out. They will put up with everything, even justifiably bad decisions. They'll put up with those. So there's no reason to even tiptoe or dance around this stuff because they don't care. Whatever you want from them, whatever you offer them, they're fine with it. I don't understand this outrage about a guy speculating that there may not be backwards compatibility in the next Switch when you guys won't care if that's the case. Was the Wii U backwards compatible with the? No, no, it wasn't. And you're not gonna care. So don't act. Obviously the Wii U's form factor or the Switch's form factor is quite different. So there were some justifiable reasons, at least for physical copies. But I don't know why my account couldn't transfer over because it's clearly linked to my Wii U currently right now. But I don't know why those Wii U ports couldn't have just crossed over as well. But that is what it is. But to act like you're upset that the Switch 2 could possibly not be backwards compatible is a joke, because if it is not backwards compatible, you won't care. You won't care. You won't be in this uproar that you are over this guy. You won't be on Nintendo's Twitter whining and crying. So just stop, because you don't care.
Right now. Okay. I've got to get going.
Okay, well, that's weird.
Yo, you got this!